Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana Brajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Krishna Balaram 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 Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol जय ओम विष्णुपाद परम प्रजी सत्क्षत्र श्री स्टीवन ग्रेस अभय चरणानंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की अमर श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम मथुरा धाम के मायापुर धाम नवदीप धाम के पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम के गंगामाई यमुनामाई की तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की शिला प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की कलियुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की निताय गौर प्रमानंदे all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories, Shri Guru and Gaurang, all glories, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Yasam Tado Jayamuyret Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So, welcome to our morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So, today is the auspicious appearance day of Shri Balaram. Today is Shri Balaram Purnima. So, on the order of devotees, I am trying to endeavor to speak on this topic of Lord Balaram. I am not qualified. I am speaking for my own purification. So, before I speak, I request the assembled Vaishnavas to give your blessings so that I can speak something properly for the benefit of myself as well as for the benefit of all the listeners. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 2nd chapter, 13th verse, 10.2.13. Let me recite the individual words and then we can recite the shloka. Garbha Sankarshanat Tam Vai Prahuhu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanad Balabhadram Balochrayat. Garbha Sankarshanat Tam Vai Pragu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanad Balabhadram Balochrayat. Garbha Sankarshana Tamvai Praku Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramana Balabhadram Balochrayat. Garbha Sankarshana Tamvai Praku Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramana Balabhadram Balochrayat. Karma Sankarshana Tamvai Raghu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramana Balabhadram Balochrayat. Kambar Sankarshana Tamvai Varu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Ramana Balabhadram Balochrayat. Sankarshana Tamvai Raghu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramana Balabhadram Balochrayat. Garbha Sankarshanat. Because he will be taken from the womb of Devaki to that of Rohini. Tam, him, Rohini Nandana, the son of Rohini. Why? Indeed, Prahuhu, people will call Sankarshanam by the name Sankarshana. Bhuvi, in the world. Rama iti. He will also be called Rama. Loka Ramanat. Because of his special mercy in enabling people in general to become devotees. Balabhadram, he will also be called Balabhadra. Balo Uchrayat, because of his extensive bodily strength. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. The son of Rohini will also be celebrated as Sankarshana because of being sent from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. He will be also called Rama because of his ability to please all the inhabitants of Gokula. And he will be known as Balabhadra because of his extensive physical strength. Purport. There are some of the reasons. These are some of the reasons why Balarama is known as Sankarshana, Balarama, or sometimes Rama. In the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. People sometimes object when Rama is accepted as Balarama. But although devotees of Lord Rama may object, they should know that there is no difference between Balarama and Lord Rama. Here, Srimad Bhagavatam clearly states that Balarama is known as Rama, Rameti. Therefore, it is not artificial for us to speak of Lord Balarama as Lord Rama.
Jayadeva Goswami also speaks of 3 Ramas: Parashurama, Raghupati Rama, and Balarama. All of them are Ramas. The son of Rohini will be also celebrated as Sankarshana because of being sent from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. He will be called Rama because of his ability to please all the inhabitants of Gokula, and he will be known as Balabhadra because of his extensive physical strength. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Shakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sakhagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadutam Parjana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratishve Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna. So here, so in this verse, Sukadeva Goswami, explains about the appearance of Balarama. Balaram ji, so we all know that he appeared as the elder brother of Krishna. But what is his real identity? His real identity is actually the expansion of Krishna. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, chapter 5, verse 4, Sarva Avatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Tanhara Divitiya Dega Shri Balaram. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Lord Balarama is his second body. So that's his identity. Actually, he is non-different than Krishna. He is the first expansion from Krishna. The Supreme Absolute Truth is one, is non-dual. It's not two. Absolute Truth is only one. What does it mean? Are we proposing Advaita? What does it mean is, Lord, by his inconceivable potencies, even though he is one, he expands as many. In the next verse, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Eka ai swarupa done, binna matra koi, adyakaya vyuha, Krishna nilara sahaya. What does it mean? These two are one and the same identity. They differ only in form. Lord Balarama is the first bodily expansion of Krishna, and he assists in Lord Krishna's transcendental pastimes. So this is his real identity. He is non-different than Krishna. There is no difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, and Lord Balaram. They are identical in potency. But in terms of bodily feature, they differ little bit. Krishna is like rain-bearing dark cloud, Shyama Sundar. Whereas the bodily complexion of Lord Balaram is like white cloud. Now, one time, there was a, discussion between two devotees, two Prabhupada disciples. And that discussion had become kind of a little argument. His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj brought this in front of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, the two devotees are having some arguments. So one devotee is telling that there is the difference between Krishna and Balaram is only his bodily feature. Krishna is like dark in complexion, whereas Balaram is white in complexion. Prabhupada said, yes, he is right. Whereas another devotee is telling the difference between Krishna and Balaram is that only Krishna enjoys with Srimati Radharani and Balaram does not. This is the difference. Then Prabhupada said, she is right. Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Prabhupada, they are talking about two different things. How can both be right? Prabhupada said, you are right. Then Maharaj asked, Prabhupada, how do we resolve this? Prabhupada said, you decide. Because in the spirituality, right, there is no one absolute right or wrong. There are many levels of truth. So one should understand that when we see that supreme absolute truth is one, but he appears as many, it looks like from normal mundane logic, it looks like it's a contradiction, right? But the contradiction is not in the scripture. The contradiction is in the ability of the reader or listener to understand. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Shri Gaurunata Mai ki jai, Shri Lakshmana Devananta Dev ki jai. So the contradiction is never in the scripture. It's always in the reader's ability to understand. So hence, when Supreme Absolute Truth is said as one, but he expands as many, we have to understand that they are all same personality. But he expands many for what purpose he expands? For performing different leelas. For what other purpose? Maintaining the universe, he expands. For the Krishti, for the Shrishti, for the creation. So it is not that Krishna was alone once upon a time and he got bored and then he expanded as Balaram and then many other forms. Because there is no concept of mundane time in the spiritual world. Even though Krishna is the source of all expansions, he is avatari, he is not avatar. Krishna is the source of all expansions, including Balaram. But it's not that once upon a time, Balaram and all the expansions did not exist. Again, this looks like a contradiction that comes because of our mundane conception. That because we know time means past, present, and future. Presently something existing, presently something appeared means that did not appear in the past. It was not there in the past, right? If something appeared today, that means it was not, only it appeared today. That means it was not there before, right? That's the mundane conception of time. Whereas in spiritual world, that mundane conception of time does not exist. Time exists only to enhance the sweetness of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Not like how the time factor in the material world acts in 6 different ways. How time expands, time operates in 6 different ways. Something comes into existence, it grows, it stays for some time, it dwindles down, and produces some offsprings, dwindles down, and then vanishes. These are the 6 effects of time in the mundane world, the material world. Whereas this effect does not exist in the spiritual world. The time exists only to increase the sweetness in the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. It is not that once upon a time, all this expansion did not exist. So, Balaram is the first bodily expansion. Rupa Goswami in Laghu Bhagavatamrita tells there are 3 categories of the Lord's forms. What are they? Swayam Rupa and Ekatma and Avesha. These are the 3 categories of Lord's forms. Swayam Rupa is non-different than Krishna in terms of potency and all his exhibitance of potencies. Whereas Ekatma is non-different than the Lord. Ekatma means what? One Atma, same personality. It is not that they have less potency. They also have the same potency, but they exhibit less on their own. When the Lord appears as Narsimadev, Vamana, Kurma, Matsya, they are non-different than the Lord, but they do not exhibit all the potencies of the Lord. Because according to the pastimes, according to the Leela, they may hide some potencies, they may exhibit something. But there is no difference between the Lord, Krishna, and all his expansions as Ekatma. So this Ekatma form exists both in the spiritual world as well as they descend in the material world. Then Avesha forms are generally, they are jivas, empowered with Lord's potency. Lord has various potencies. Jnana Shakti, Paribalana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, right? Where the Lord has various potencies. When the living entity, Jiva, is empowered with any one of these potencies, they are called Aveshas. The examples is Kumaras. The Kumaras are Avesha potency of Lord's Jnana Shakti. Prithu Maharaj is Lord's empowerment with Paripalana Shakti. Narada Muni is empowered with Bhakti Shakti. Vedavyas is empowered with literary potency, right? Jnana Shakti again. Whereas the current Vyasadeva, normally in the end of Dwapara Yuga, when Vyasadeva appears, they are actually living entities empowered with Lord's potency. Whereas the most recent Vedavyas, he is Bhagavan himself, Krishna Dvaipayana Vedavyas. When there is no qualified living entities available, the Lord descends himself. So these 3 categories of Lord's forms, expansions. Swayam Rupa, right, is Lord himself. So in the Swayam Rupa, when he expands, is called Swayam Prakasha. When the Lord expands himself directly, that's called Swayam Prakasha. And then Swayam Prakasha again contains 2 categories. Prabhava Prakasha and Vaibhava Prakasha. Prabhava Prakasha means Lord himself identical in terms of bodily feature. Vaibhava Prakasha means there is little difference in the bodily feature. Is the Lord himself but little difference in the bodily feature. In terms of potency, in terms of exhibiting potency, they are identical. So the example of Prabhava Prakasha is Lord expanding himself as in the Ras Leela, right? To dance with all the gopis, or in Dwaraka, right? Lord is present in each one of the queen, with each one of the queens. In 16,118 queens, right? Lord expands into many. They are identical Krishna in terms of bodily feature. This Vaibhav Prakasha, whose bodily feature is little different, but in terms of potency is same, is Balaram. The first expansion is Balaram. So this is the identity of Balaram. From Balaram comes all the other expansions, right? The Tad Ekatma Rupas, right? They all appear from Lord Balaram. And again, Tad Ekatma Rupa contains two categories, right? What are the two categories? One is called Vilasa and another is called Swamsa. So Lord Balaram, when he expands in the spiritual world as the first Chaturvyuga, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva. The first quadruple expansion. They are all Vilasa forms. Again, within Vilasa, there are Prabhava Vilasa and Vaibhava Vilasa. So the first quadruple expansion, and from the first quadruple expansion of Shankarshana comes Narayana. So from that Narayana comes the second quadruple expansion. Actually, in Vaikuntha planet, there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets are there. The Lord, the 400 forms, who is present in each and every one of the Vaikuntha planets. Each one of the Vaikuntha planet is protected by the 4 Chaturvyugas. They are called the second quadruple expansions. They all appear from Narayana. From that second quadruple expansion, Shankarshana, comes Mahavishnu for the purpose of manifesting the material creation. So these Purusha avatars and all the avatars who appear in this material world, they all come under the category of Swamsha. Swamsha. In the Swamsha, there are again many categories: Leela avatars, Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, right? And then Satya Avesha, Shakti Avesha avatar, Manvantar avatar, right? Yuga avatar. There are 6 categories. In the Purusha avatars is again there are 3 Purushas, as Srimad Bhagavatam explains in the 2nd canto as well as in the 1st canto. 3 Purusha avatars. Mahavishnu, Karana Dakashayi Vishnu, and then Garbho Dakashayi Vishnu and Shiro Dakashayi Vishnu. They appear for the purpose of manifesting the material creation and maintaining them. So, but all of them, all these expansions, they are Krishna, but they all appear, they expand from Balaram. So this is the identity of Balaram. But that Balaram, who have been eternally existing in the spiritual world, how can we celebrate Balaram Purnima, appearance of Lord Balaram, who have been always existing? How is it possible? But that Balaram, he appears in the material world. When he appears in the material world, we celebrate as Balaram Purnima. That Balaram, why he appeared as elder brother of Krishna? Because he is the expansion of Krishna. He is younger Krishna, right? But he appears as elder brother of Krishna. For that, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains, right, that in the verse 132, right, in the same 5th chapter of Adi Leela, Hey Rupe Jane, Sei taha kahe, sakala sambhava Krishne, kichu mityanahe. Right? In whatever form one knows the Lord, one speaks of him in that way. In this, there is no falsity, since everything is possible in Krishna. The Lord who expands as Balaram, that Balaram comes as elder brother. In the next verse, and later he says, when he describes, right, how Lord Ram's pastimes are full of actually sorrow, sadness, and Lakshman tolerated that all those sadness. Because Lord, when he appears, right, for different purpose of Leela, in different Leela, he exhibits different types of emotions. Predominantly, the pastimes of Lord Ram is full of separation and sorrow. Right? And Lord Balaram always appears along with Lord Krishna to assist in his pastimes. In this expansion, as Lord Rama, when he appeared, right, Balaram came in as Lakshmana. But because of the Leela involved, where is full of sorrow and difficulty was there, Lakshman has to tolerate so many things, including, banishing Sita. When Mother Sita had to be sent away from Ayodhya because of the criticism, who the service was given? Lakshman. Was Lakshman happy about it, sending Mother Sita to the forest? No. Actually, Balaram's primary purpose of appearance is to serve Krishna, to please Krishna, to serve and please Krishna. That's the mood of Balaram. But no one knows how to serve the Supreme Lord other than the Lord himself. No one can serve the Lord because he is inconceivable. He is infinite. How to please the infinite Supreme Lord? Only he knows himself, how to serve himself. For that purpose, only he expands. The first expansion of Krishna, right, is Balaram. Balaram's purpose is to serve and please the Supreme Lord. This is the mood of Balaram. Balaram's mood is always to serve and please. But when Lord Balaram appeared as Lakshmana, on the order of the elder brother, always it is the duty of the younger brothers to obey the order of the elder brother. The elder brother is non-different than the father. One cannot actually reject the orders of the father because father is also spiritual master. Except only one condition. In only one situation, one can reject. When the father asked him to get married, it's up to the son. He has the independence to decide to remain as brahmachari and sannyas. Right? The example is the Kumaras. When Lord Brahmaji first created Kumaras from his mind, the Manasa Putras, why he created them? To create progeny. So, my dear son, I have been ordered by the Supreme Lord for purpose of Visarga, secondary creation in this world. Now I have to populate all the 14 planets. I had created this 14 planetary system. Now we have to populate this 14 planetary system with various living entities because they are all waiting. They are all waiting to continue in their karma. So now you assist me in populating the whole universe. So you get married. But the Kumaras, they said, we are not interested. They just walked away. So this is the only order the son has the ability to reject father's order. This is the only situation. Otherwise, one has to follow. So sometimes, devotees, when they're joining full-time brahmachari ashram, they might have this challenge, but this is authorized. You don't have to listen to anybody in terms of getting married. You don't have to listen to anybody. If you have the desire to serve Krishna in the brahmacharya ashram, you can. There is absolutely no one can force you. So this is because we have example. So the duty of the younger brother is to always obey the orders of the elder brother, because he is like non-different than the father. He represents father. So that way, right, Lord Lakshman has to go through so much of difficult situation to fulfill the orders of Lord Ram. Even Agni Pariksha, who arranged the fire? Lakshman. All these difficult tasks. So even though he tolerated them, but he felt in his heart, because I appeared as younger brother, I have to go through all these difficult things. I don't want to go through this difficult. And next time when I appeared, I will appear as elder brother. So Lord, when he appeared in the next Leela, in Krishna Leela, Balaram appeared as elder brother. That's what we saw in this verse, the Bhagavatam verse we saw. That first, so even though he appeared as elder brother, it doesn't mean that he was actually giving orders to Krishna. Even though he appeared as elder brother to avoid the inconvenience of going through difficult seva, in creating separation for the Lord, the mood is always to serve and please. It is not that when he appeared as elder brother, he was giving orders and you serve me now. No. The mood is, even though he appeared as elder brother, to avoid the challenges, the inconvenient feelings, what he was going through. But the mood is always to serve and please Krishna. This Balaram in the spiritual world, we saw that he is the first expansion. The Lord has many potencies, right? Broadly, all these potencies can be categorized into three categories. What are they? Antaranga Shakti and Bahiranga Shakti and Tadasha Shakti. Antaranga Shakti is Lord's internal potency, the spiritual potency, through which the entire manifestation of the spiritual sky is existing. And all his expansions in the spiritual sky, all the paraphernalia, abode, everything, the body, everything is his internal potency in the spiritual world. In the material world, that same spiritual potency's reflection comes as Bhagiranga Shakti. Antaranga Shakti and Bhagiranga Shakti, they are actually one only. They are all Lord Shakti. That reflection of the Antaranga Shakti comes as Bhagiranga Shakti in the material world. The third category of Shakti is called Tadasha Shakti, marginal potency, through which the living entities are all made. Again, the Antaranga Shakti, again there are further three categories. Sandhini, Samvit and Ladini. Sandhini potency is the potency through which the creation, the manifestation, the paraphernalia all comes into existence. And Samvit potency is the knowledge potency. And Ladini potency is the experiencing potency, pleasure giving potency. So Lord Balaram is that Sandhini potency, is the predominating deity of the Sandhini potency in the spiritual world, is Lord Balaram. So hence all the paraphernalia, the dham, the expansions, the paraphernalia, everything is Lord Balaram's expansion to serve and please Krishna. So for anything to work, right? You need, for anything to manifest, you need jnana, bala and kriya. Jnana means the knowledge. Bala means the strength to act on that knowledge. Kriya means actual manifestation, activity. In the spiritual world, the Lord has many categories of potency, right? These are the types of, these are the potencies. Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, right? Bala Shakti, all these things are there. So Lord Balaram, right, who expands through this Samvit Sandhini potency to serve Krishna in the spiritual world, the whole Dham, all these expansions, all of them are Samvit potency. So when something exists, for the things to be, when, for example, if there is a milk, right? There is hot milk and there is sugar. Hot milk and sugar, when you take, it gives certain type of experience. The same hot milk and sugar, we can make rabdi. It's same, made of same ingredient. Or you can make rasmalai. What is rasmalai made of? Same hot milk and sugar. Regularly hot milk and sugar is also there. The same hot milk and sugar gives different types of experience. Because of what? Because of jnana, knowledge. Once one if he has knowledge to make this, mix these ingredients in different ways, we can get different experience. That ability to use the paraphernalia in particular mood, to enhance particular mood or to give particular experience, is this knowledge potency, Samvit. The predominating deity of the Samvit potency is Baladev. So the Baladev is the one who knows how to use all the paraphernalia, which also his own potency only. He only knows how to use all this different paraphernalia to give different types of experience. Right? How, when you take the milk and sugar, when you have the knowledge on how to make rabdi or rasamalai, it gives different types of experience. Same ingredients, it gives different experience. That experience is Ladini potency. That is Srimati Radharani. The predominating deity of Ladini potency is Srimati Radharani, the spiritual world. But the predominating deity of both Samvit, Sandhini and Samvit, Sandhini is Balaram and Samvit is Baladev. So Baladev is the origin of all, because he only knows how to use various paraphernalia in the service of the Supreme Lord. So he is the origin of the Guru Tattva, the one who gives knowledge on how to use various paraphernalia to give different experience to the Supreme Lord. So this is the origin of the Guru Tattva. He is the origin of Guru. Balaram is the origin of Guru Tattva, because he only knows how to use all the various paraphernalia in pleasing Krishna. So that Samvit potency reflects in the material world, in the heart of a conditioned living entity. He manifests as Shri Guru. Shri Guru is nothing but the potency of Balaram. That Samvit potency reflects in this heart of the living entity, in this material world. They manifest as Shri Guru. So this is the identity of Lord Balaram. Balaram is, he has many purpose. He's like infinitely serves the Lord in many ways. Everything is actually Balaram only. Everything is Balaram only. So the Guru Tattva is also Balaram only. So the conditioned living entity in this material world, everything comes from who? The body and all the energies and all the paraphernalia comes from who? Balaram. When that paraphernalia is used according to the instruction given by Balaram, it gives pleasure to both the Lord and the living entity. But when that is misused, right, one experiences misery. That pleasure potency is Ladini. when things are used according to the instruction of Balaram in the service of the Supreme Lord, what will one experience? Pleasure. Srimati Radharani's mercy. Satisfaction of the heart. But when things are not used in the service of the Supreme Lord, and it is used for one's own satisfaction of the desires, what one experiences? Bhagiranga Shakti, not Antaranga Shakti, not Srimati Radharani, Durga Devi, with her Trishul, right? The Trishul, 3 points in Trishul, right? Represents Adhyatmika Klesha, Adi Bhaudika Klesha, and Adi Devika Klesha. When the living entity is using the body to fulfill its own desires arising from its own mind, what happens? Experiences suffering. But when the paraphernalia, including its own body and all the faculty, is used in the service according to the instruction of Shri Guru, which is representative of Lord Balaram, one will experience pleasure. So the challenge is the mind. Mind is the one which comes between us and Krishna. Because mind, material mind, is the source of all desires. Mind does these two things, right? One is it records all experiences. The mind's purpose, the material mind's purpose is two things, right? It actually acts as a storehouse for all our experiences. It's like a storage device. There is no limit in the storage. It can store millions and millions of life experiences. But there is another characteristics of the mind is that based on the past experiences, by combining those experiences, it can produce newer and newer types of desires. For example, when I was a young, I went to watch a movie. In that movie, what I see? A hero is coming, he's singing duet with the heroine, right? This experience might have recorded at the age of 4 or 5 or something. Accidentally when I saw a movie or something, right? And when I'm 21, walking in the street, I see a young lady walking. So these two experiences is there in the mind. Combining these two experiences, mind will propose a new thing, new idea, new desire. How about I hold the hand of that young lady and sing duet, or I go and kiss her? Some experience I saw when I was young or in some previous life, somebody singing with somebody or somebody kissing somebody. And then later I saw one young lady out of nowhere. The mind combines two experience, proposes a new desire. This is the nature of the mind. Mind, in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, King Raghuguna, to instruction to King Raghuguna, Jadabharata tells, it's like a restless child. Mind is like a restless child. When a restless child, when you ask him to do something, he'll do the opposite. Sometimes, some personalities, some elevated spiritual personality visit a Grihastha's home. The parents always want to showcase their children's ability, their devotional ability. They will ask the child, right? Can you sing Narsimharati to Prabhuji or to Maharaj? The child will look at you like you are like a Hiranyakashipu. It will not sing. But later, when the class is going on, the child will sit into one corner and sing Narsimharati. Right? This is the behavior of a child. Right? You can't predict how it will behave. This is the nature of the mind. How to overcome this mind? Jadabharata Maharaj gives the instruction, mind should be ignored, and mind also should be made obeyed. It should be ignored and obeyed. It should be ignored when it's producing its all types of desires. It should be ignored. When the desire comes out of the mind, it should be ignored. But the mind should be made to obey the instructions of Shri Guru. So this is the only way to subdue the mind. The process of subduing the mind is with the help of mantra. Man means mind, tra means to deliver. So the process to subdue the mind is mantra. So there are many types of mantras are available. The most effective mantra in this Kali Yuga is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If the mind has to be delivered and subdued, it has to be made obey to the instruction of the spiritual master. Prabhupada had given this Maha Mantra with the instruction. What is the instruction? Chant attentively and hear. Whereas mind, it does not obey this instruction. When we chant only, at the time only, mind will engage in planning. Mind will never keep us in the present. At the time of chanting, when we sit, take the beadbags and chant, at the time only, oh, this service I have to do, that service I have to do, right? All this type of plannings will come. But when we are actually serving, at the time, mind will not focus on the service. He'll be lamenting, oh, today I did not chant properly. See, I was inattentive while chanting. This is the nature of the mind. Mind will never keep us in the present. This mind held to be mind, whenever it suggests something, it should be ignored. And then it should be made obey. Instruction of the spiritual master. So our preeminent Shiksha Guru in ISKCON is Srila Prabhupada. What is the most important instruction Prabhupada had given? Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and hear attentively. Chant and hear. Because that is the process. One makes more than 99.9% of all our advancement comes from this one particular activity of chanting and hearing. That is the instruction. But that is the instruction, our mind will always disobey. This is the most challenging thing. Chanting our prescribed number of rounds. So this mind, when is made to obey the instruction of Shri Guru, all the anxieties of the mind will go away. His mind is inflicted with these 6 anarthas. Right? 6 anarthas. Kama, Krodha, right? Mada, Matsarya, Lobha. All the 6 anarthas can go away. The mind, we can get rid of these anarthas from the mind only when we listen to the instruction of Shri Guru. But Shri Guru gives the knowledge. Most of the time, after coming to ISKCON, right, we know a lot of knowledge. Even a newcomer in ISKCON knows so much. Just by listening to the classes, so much philosophy he knows. More than greatest philosophers in the world. ISKCON, even a new Bhakta in ISKCON knows more philosophical conclusion knowledge than Munis and sages, several performing austerities for several lifetime. What they come to the conclusion? Supreme absolute truth is Lord Shri Krishna. A newcomer devotee in ISKCON knows Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? He knows. But it's very difficult to act on that platform of the knowledge. That is why Srila Prabhupada established Krishna Balaram deity at Vrindavan. Krishna gives the sword of knowledge through which the living entity can cut through all the material attachment and get liberated, attain the spiritual world, and attain eternal bliss. But it is very difficult to lift that sword and cut these attachments. Krishna gives the knowledge, Sri Guru gives the knowledge, but acting on that knowledge is very difficult. How? The sword, Krishna gives the sword of knowledge. It is not possible to lift. We are so weak because of our attachments. So Balaram gives that Shakti to lift that sword and cut the attachment. So what is that mercy? What is that strength to lift the sword of knowledge and act on that knowledge? The mercy of Sri Guru. One is knowledge. The capacity to act on that knowledge comes only by Guru's mercy. Mundane things, once you have knowledge, things manifest, right? Whereas in spirituality, you might have the knowledge. It will not manifest until one gets mercy of Sri Guru. So this auspicious day of Balaram Jayanti, Balaram not Jayanti, Balaram Purnima. Sorry, the word Jayanti should be used only in connection to Krishna. Only Krishna Jayanti can be used. Jayanti is always in connection to only Krishna, not even to Balaram, not to any of his other expansions. This is what actually Hari Parshad Prabhu mentioned. Because the Jayanti means conjunction of two things astronomically. Some details he gives, technical details I forgot. So that is applicable only to Shri Krishna. Only Krishna Jayanti. Even Gita Jayanti we cannot use. Jayanti has to be only used for Krishna's appearance. Sometimes, Jayanti is used left and right everywhere. Even Gandhi Jayanti. What is Gandhi Jayanti? It is Jayanti cannot be used even for Balaram. People use it for mundane things also. Huh? See, because we are so conditioned, I said Balaram Jayanti. Actually, it's Balaram Purnima. So on this auspicious day of Balaram Purnima, one should actually plead to Lord Balaram to give that strength. One should plead spiritual master's mercy to get strength to act on that knowledge. We all have so much knowledge already. Prabhupada had given so much knowledge in Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? But we are so weak. We don't have the strength to lift that sword of knowledge and act on that capacity of that knowledge. The mind distracts us. The mind is inflicted with all these various anarthas. Various anarthas. This lust, one of the main anarthas. Lust means it's not just gross, it's also subtle. There are two types of sex, gross sex and subtle sex. What is subtle sex? It's like profit and adoration, desire for profit and adoration, distinction. These three things are considered to be subtle sex. Even one might be very much renounced from the family life. One might be even a sannyasi, or one might be a brahmachari throughout the life. But this lust can manifest in the form of desire for profit, adoration, and distinction. So in the past times, in Krishna Leela, various demons represents various anarthas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains. So in that, One of the asuras who represents the desire for subtle sex or this lust is Pralambasura. Pralambasura is carrying Balaram on his shoulder and running away from Krishna. Right? And that pastime, after like Krishna's team in the tug of war, right? Krishna's team loses. Balaram side wins. The condition is that whoever loses, they should carry the other party on their shoulder. So Pralambasura actually took the form of a Gopa. He was actually playing in the Krishna side. And then he took Balaram on his shoulder and starts running into the forest, going away from Krishna. Mind, when it's inflicted with lust, it takes us away from Krishna. But the word Guru means what? Heavy. Balaram becomes heavy. When he realizes that this Pralambasura is not this Gopa, is not actually a Gopa, he's a demon, he becomes heavy. When becomes heavy, what happens? He slows down. He is not able to believe that this Balaram is so heavy, he can't run fast, he slows down. That Guru's mercy is the one which can slow down the desire to enjoy in this material world. Until one gets the mercy of Guru, the desire to enjoy in this world continues. Prabhupada says, when he describes in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, right, Narada Muni's instruction, right, the pastime of the Daligari pastime, Puranjana story, right? The desire to enjoy in this world represents that beautiful lady, right? So when he describes, right, Gajagamini, right, when she walks like an elephant. The beauty of that lady is described as Gajagamini, right? When somebody's walk, the majestic walk is like elephant's walk. When somebody's walks, we can like describe, like compare to that an animal. It's a glorification. But the same thing, if we compare somebody's eating to an animal, is it a glorification? No. So when you read that verse, right, you'll be bewildered whether you're reading Srimad Bhagavatam or some other lusty literature. In that actually, right, this desire to enjoy in this world is so strong, so deep-rooted. The mind is infested with so much of experience, millions and millions of life. Prabhupada explains in that verse, in the purport, the desire, sex desire, means it's both gross and subtle, is the strongest which keeps the living entity bound in this material world by attracting to the opposite sex. It is so difficult for the living entity to come out. That desire can be overcome only the desire in the heart. Even at that, there is a story, no? Prabhupada says, even an old man, at the time of death, still the desire to enjoy sex is not gone. When somebody is in the deathbed, when the king is coming, and king's daughter also coming, he is looking at the king's daughter with a lusty look. So the mind is so strong to enjoy independent of Krishna in this material world, because of all this, infested with so much of desires, it is impossible to slow down. How Pralambasura, who represents this desire for enjoyment in this world, lusty desires, cannot be slowed down. He will be keep running away from Krishna. The mind will take us all the time away from Krishna only. All these things what we see in this world will be nothing but a feeder into the mind to take us away from Krishna. Everything we see in this world is nothing but feeds into the mind to increase various planning of how to enjoy this. By that way, we are going away from Krishna. But that mind can be slowed down when it gets the mercy of Sri Guru. How Prahlambasura started slowing down. When the Guru became heavy. Guru means also heavy. Balaram became heavy, Prahlambasura slowed down. After that, Balaram, what he did? Give one punch. One punch. Boom. Prahlambasura is dead. Similarly, that one instruction of the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada's instruction, one instruction. What is that one instruction? Chant attentively. Right? One instruction of the spiritual master is capable of killing this tendency of the mind to enjoy independently, which takes away from Krishna. By holding that instruction of the spiritual master is that punch which can destroy the desire to enjoy independently. So that's why Guru's mercy comes in the form of instruction. Taking shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Guru, Sri Balaram means what? Taking, right? Ntai Padakamala Kodi Chandra Sushitala. Right? Narottam Das Thakur says, right? The lotus feet of Lord Nitai, who is non-different than Krishna, so non-different than Balaram. They are not Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they are not avatars of Krishna and Balaram. They are actually, they are self-same personality. How Krishna, when he appeared 5,000 years ago, he is Swayam Bhagavan. In other yugas, when he appears, he is expansions. Whereas the most recent one is Swayam Bhagavan himself. Once in a day of Brahma, when he appears, right? He is Krishna, avatar. He is not avatar, he is avatari. And Balaram, that supreme personality who is in the spiritual world, exists. Supreme personality of servitor Godhead, who appeared as elder brother. That's why he's called Dauji. Dauji means elder brother. That same personality of Krishna and Balaram in Kali Yuga appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. They are non-different than Krishna and Balaram. So Nitai's mercy, Nitai Pada Kamala Kodi Chandra Sushitala, he's saying, taking shelter at the lotus feet of Nityananda means what? Listening, surrendering to the instruction of Sri Guru. That's what it means. I always used to think, what does it mean? Taking shelter, catch hold of the lotus feet of Krishna, Balaram, Nityananda. Right? He explains, right? Until we catch hold of the lotus feet of Nityananda, one cannot join the dancing party of Radha and Krishna. Otherwise, we are nothing but animal inflicted with various desires. Right? Otherwise, we are Pashu only. What does it mean? Taking shelter of or catching hold of the lotus feet of Nityananda means what? Taking shelter of Lord Balaram means what? Surrendering to the instruction of Sri Guru. That's what it means. Practically, what it means, taking shelter of Lord Balaram, catching hold of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda means surrendering to the instruction of spiritual master. Of course, spiritual master, there are two types, right? Diksha and Shiksha. Both of them are important. Diksha is important. He is the one who gives official connection to the parampara. Is it sufficient? Getting initiated? Initiation means that's the beginning. But after that, Shiksha is very important. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the 64 items of Bhakti, Rupa Goswami explains, the first 10 are connected to Guru only. Gurupada Shreya, taking shelter at the lotus feet of spiritual master and getting initiated by him and receiving instruction in connection to discharging devotional service. All the important instructions, the first Instructions are in connection to Guru only. Right? Taking shelter of Guru means surrendering to the instruction of the spiritual master. It might be difficult. The difficulty is not in the instruction. The difficulty is where? In the mind. The mind is the obstacle. The mind can be slowed down when we receive the mercy of Guru. Until the mind is subdued, until we get rid of anarthas, one cannot become steady in devotional service. Nishta. Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivriti, Nishta. Steady state in bhakti can be attained when the mind is regulated, when the mind is made, obeyed to the instruction of Guru, when the mind is ignored with its desires, one can attain steady state, anartha nivritti. So on this auspicious day of Balaram Purnima, we take shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Balaram by surrendering to the instruction of Sri Guru. Mainly this one instruction of Srila Prabhupada. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Chant attentively. That is the difficulty we all face. Especially I face this difficulty every day. It's a challenge. So I'm requesting all of you to give your blessings so that I can obey to this instruction. I can make my mind obey to the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. Take shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Guru. Take shelter at the lotus feet of Balaram. Right? We know the pastimes in Ramayana, right? Sugriva represents the conditioned living entity. Right? Sugriva takes shelter of Lord Ram. When Lord Ram and Lakshman comes, he offers the seat to Lord Ram, but he forgets to offer the seat to Lakshman. So now, to cut short, that Sugriva is getting challenged by Wali, right? Because that's why he is like running the entire universe. He did a Google map of the entire universe. He knows the inside out of the entire universe because he was chased by Wali everywhere. So when Lord Ram gives the mercy to him that I will kill Wali, you go and fight. Call for a battle with Wali. He goes and challenges Wali. Wali comes, they start fighting. Both of them are Vanaras, right? Both of them look so similar. Lord Ram aims this arrow, but both of them look similar. He does not release the weapon. So Sugriva gets beaten up and comes back. Then he's asked, Lord Ram, you asked me to fight. You thought you told that you're going to take care of Wali. But what happened? He said, because you look so identical. Now he instructs Lakshman, go and put a garland to Sugriva. This garland will differentiate you from Wali so that I can identify who you are. So that garland coming from Lakshman, even though the reason first time he did not get the mercy of Lord Ram, even though Lord said that he will give mercy, because he neglected to offer respect to Sri Guru, Lakshman. Hence, even though Lord said that he will give mercy, he did not get the mercy. Once he got the blessings, mercy from Lakshman, that in the form of garland, when Lord Lakshman is giving garland means what? He is pleased only. Right? Somebody is offering garland to somebody, that means what does it mean? That means that person is pleased with you. That's why they're offering garland. You don't offer garland in a grudging way, right? So Lord Lakshman offers garland to Sugriva. That means he received the mercy of Lakshman. Then he was able to overcome Wali. Then he was able to receive the mercy of Lord Ram. So Hanumanji represents Shri Guru. Right? Hanumanji also from Ramayana we can understand. The instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in this world. The message of the Supreme Lord is carried by Shri Guru to take the conditioned living entity back to the spiritual world. That representative is Shri Guru. The messenger of the Supreme Lord is Shri Guru. So this lust, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in 10th canto mentions, when somebody gets the glance of the Cupid, it manifests in 10 ways. Huh? It's very important. Huh? Even though here it's talked about the gross glance of Cupid, that actually represents both subtle also. Here, I think it is in the 60. One second. Let me look at the notes. Yeah, 42nd chapter, 14th verse. The purport, Hridayananda Goswami Maharaj writes that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti states that since the women of Mathura immediately experienced symptoms of conjugal attraction when they saw Krishna, they were the most advanced devotees in the city. The 10 effects of Cupid are described as follows. Shakshu Raga Pratamam Chitta Sangas Tatota Sangalpaha Nidra Chedas Tanuta Vishaya Nivritis Trapanashaha Unmado Murcha Mritir Iti Yeta Smaradasa Dasheva Shuhu. First comes attraction experience expressed through the eyes. This is the when Cupid is manifesting, where it starts with the eyes first, right? Expressed through the eyes, then intense attachment in the mind. Once we see something through the eyes, that gets recorded in the mind, and then mind is like ruminating on that particular object, right? So it's by ruminating, it develops that attachment, intense attachment in the mind. Then comes determination to use that thing for its own enjoyment. After determination comes loss of sleep. When somebody, right, in the Uddhava, not Uddhava, it's Vidraniti in Mahabharata, right? In the after Sanjaya goes, after Krishna comes to Hastinapur on peace mission failed. Krishna goes back. Again, Dhritarashtra gets worried. He sends Sanjaya on the counter peace mission to go and see what's going on with the Pandava side. After he comes back, right? Sanjaya, Dhritarashtra asks what happened. He said, I'm very tired because of travel. Oh king, please give me some time so that tonight I will take rest. Tomorrow morning I will come and tell you the instruction. Tell what happened with the Pandavas. So after Sanjaya goes to take rest, what happens to Dhritarashtra? Dhritarashtra, what happens? Lack of sleep, restlessness, his body starts burning. So at that time, he asks his servant to call for Vidura. Right? In the Vidura, whatever instruction he gives comes as Viduraniti. Who loses sleep? There are 4 categories of people. Right? One who's infested with lust, meaning attraction for opposite sex. One who's a thief. One who's planning to usurp somebody's property. Like that, 4 categories. One who's, I think, inflicted with the disease, I think. 4 of them. These 4 type of people cannot sleep. And then next he says, right? king, I know you are not infected with any of this affected, but actually the fifth instruction he gives, because you are trying to usurp the land of Pandavas, what rightfully belongs to, right? That's why you're actually not able to sleep. So sleeplessness, right? Comes when first gets the glance of Cupid, starts from eyes, then intense attachment in the mind, determination to act on the desire, right? Then lack of sleep. How to act, how to do it. The mind is becoming restless, not able to sleep, becoming emaciated. Because the desire is not fulfilled, he is all the time meditating on that particular desire. He even forgets to eat. He's not feeling hungry. Because of that, he starts losing bodily weight, starting becoming emaciated, disinterest in external things. He is not interested in anything other than particular object. And then shamelessness. Somehow or there, hook or crook, I want to get it. Shamelessness. And then mad. He won't do. For any person with common sense, it knows that obviously we know that it is wrong, because that madness, right, makes us to forget, and we will act in that particular desire. Madness. And then becoming stunned. And then ultimately resulting in death. This is what happens to the conditioned living entity when it's get attracted to the opposite sex, or gets attracted to the things of this world to enjoy independent of Krishna. Ultimately, it results in death. Further, right, these are the 10 stages of Cupid's effects. This is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions in the purport to this verse 10.42.14. And Hridayana Goswami quotes that, and further he says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura also points out that devotees who possess pure love of Godhead generally do not exhibit the symptom of death. Though the mundane person who is afflicted with the lust of this world exhibits these 10 effects of Cupid, the pure devotee of the Lord who is afflicted with prema for Krishna, he also exhibits the same effects, but he does not exhibit the 10th one. The first 9 he will exhibit. Right? The devotees who possess pure love of Godhead generally do not exhibit the symptom of death, since this is inauspicious in relation to Krishna. They do, however, manifest the other 9 symptoms, culminating in becoming stunned in ecstasy. So until one gets the mercy of Shri Guru, it becomes impossible to overcome the desire to enjoy in this material world. Mind is a distraction until it made to listen to the instruction of Shri Guru, until it ignored of the desires produced by its own mind. Sometimes the challenge might come. Is the instruction, is it my intelligence speaking or mind is speaking? Sometimes, no? Normally 99.9% of the time for conditioned living entity, the mind is only speaking, it's not intelligence. Right? Mundane intelligence influences. Mundane intelligence influences the mind. Mind actually takes over the intelligence, mundane intelligence. Whereas the spiritual intelligence is separate from mundane intelligence. So the mind had to be made obeyed. Prabhupada, when he talks about in Bhagavad Gita, one place, right? How to control the mind. The Prabhupada uses the word subordinate. The word subordinate, I think 6 times in one purport he uses. It has to be made subordinate to the instruction of the superiors. It should be ignored. Whatever it comes up with own, it should be made to listen to the instruction of the superior authority. Shri Guru. So again, I'll stop here. I know we're a little over time. I took the permission from Prabhuji so that we can go a little extra. So on this auspicious day of Balaram appearance, we pray for his mercy so that we can lift that sword of knowledge and cut all these desires coming out of the mind. Cut all these attachments, which is producing innumerable number of desires, so that we don't go away from Krishna, so that we can progress towards Krishna in serving him. Hare Krishna. Shri Balaram Purnima ki, Srimad Gantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Any comments? Any corrections? Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. In the, I think verse 26, right? No, 26 is the one it mentioned, 19th and 20th incarnation mentioned. Krishna and Balaram. But in the 28th instruction, after giving this 22 incarnations, list of 22 incarnations, after that, Sutta Goswami mentions, these are, this 22, don't think that Lord comes only in this 22 incarnations. How many incarnations Lord takes? Innumerable. Like, if you take the rivulets, if you see a flowing river, the flowing river, right? The water is going up and down, right? You can't call it as waves. It's the technical term is rivulets. It's like small waves. How many rivulets are there in the river, flowing river? Can you count? It is not possible to count. That many incarnations the Lord takes. But in the 28th verse, Ete chamsa kala pumsha, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. All these above mentioned incarnations are portions or plenary portions of the Supreme Lord. Plenary portions are portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. Right? Kala and Amsha. Plenary portions and portions of the plenary portions. But. Tu means what? Sanskrit word tu means but. Proper tense but. Whenever the word but is used, we got to understand there is a change in category. For example, if all the, MPs, Rajya Sabha MPs and Lok Sabha MPs are assembled together in a big function hall. All the dignitaries are assembled. Right? All these people are important. Right? But Narendra Modi is the president, prime minister. All of them are government. All of them are important people. All these people, including Narendra Modi and all the MPs assembled, all the ministers, everybody assembled in one particular hall. All these people are important. But Narendra Modi is the prime minister. What does it mean? Whenever, even though Narendra Modi is also one of the important persons of the government who are in this room, whenever the word but is used, but he is the prime minister. When it is said, even though he is one of the important persons, he is not the same as others. He is actually the superior of all. Similarly, the list of incarnations, 22 incarnations are mentioned. Etechamsa kala pumshaka. Krishna's, but Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan himself. Whenever the word tu is used, there is a change in category. Right? All these people are important dignitaries of government, but Narendra Modi is the president, prime minister. That means he is not, even though he is one among them, but he's not the same. Similarly, list of incarnation is given, including Krishna and Balaram. But later, Sutta Goswami mentions, but Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan himself. So that is how it has to be understood. The Lord descends. Whenever he comes into the material world, He comes through this agency of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. Right? He appears, all incarnations of the Lord comes through the agency of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. But Swayam Bhagavan Krishna also comes through agency of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu only, but he is not same. He is actually the avatari, not avatar. That needs to be understood. So, Jiva Goswami, right, in Krishna Sandarbha, when he explains the position of Krishna, he quotes this particular verse. Ete chamsa kalapumsa Krishnasta Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Pradanti Yuge Yuge. Right? This verse is the Paribhasha Shudra of entire Srimad Bhagavatam. If we take all the slokas, all the 18,000 slokas of Srimad Bhagavatam to be various generals belonging in an army of the king, this verse 1.3.28 is the commander-in-chief. All the warriors, all the generals in the army obey to who? Commander-in-chief, the monarch, the king. This verse is the Paribhasha Shudra of entire Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the definition of Paribhasha Shudra? It's seemingly unrelated fact. When it's seen through that particular lens, you can see the connection between all of them. They might seemingly different facts. When you look through that particular lens, you will see the common thread. You will see the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, various incarnations, various pastimes of the Lord, all of them are described. So many different incarnations, so many pastimes are there. But all of them are connected through this one particular verse. One can understand that Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan himself. Hare Krishna. Any other comments? Yes, Prabhuji. See, all of them have all the 64 qualities, but they don't exhibit. Understand? All of them, it's not that Tat Ekatma Rupa means they are the same personality. If same personality, how come they not have the same potencies? They all have same potencies also, but they don't exhibit. They don't exhibit all the potencies for a particular purpose or to enhance the Leela or particular pastime. They don't exhibit all the potencies. See, Narasimha, when he appears, right, does he not have all the potencies of Krishna? He has all the potencies of Krishna, but he doesn't exhibit. Out of 64 qualities, only Lord Shri Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, Shamashundar Krishna only exhibits these 4 qualities which distinguishes him from all the other personalities. What are the 4 qualities? Is Leela, right? Leela Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, one who plays in the flute, right? Venu Madhuri, Rupa Madhuri is beauty, exquisite beauty of Shamashundar. It's like even the demons, when they see Krishna, they get attracted. Right? Rupa Madhuri and Bhakta Madhuri. It's surrounded by the intimate devotees who serve Krishna in all the 5 rasas. Only Krishna has this intimate association of the devotees surrounded by him, right? Who can serve in all the 5 rasas. Right? Whereas others don't. Is it okay? They all have all the 64 qualities, but they don't exhibit. Limited means the quality is not, it's not there, it is there. Same in potency means the potency is there, but they don't exhibit. Does it make sense? Do you understand? Correct. It is there in Narayan. It's not that it is not there. He doesn't exhibit it. Huh? See, Narayan is not different than Krishna. Don't ever think that any of the Lord's Tatyekatma Rupas does not have a particular quality. They all have. They are non-different than the Lord. Right? One should not actually see the difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Narayan. Whose instruction it is? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction. No, Venkata Bhatta. Venkata Bhattas. In the past time of Venkata Bhatta, right? Right after Venkata Bhatta gets completely bewildered, Lord, I don't know, I am surrendering to you. At the time, after that, actually there is no difference between Krishna and Narayana. The same personality, self same. But in terms of exhibiting the quality for the Leela, Narayan doesn't exhibit. Can you even imagine Narayan playing flute? No. Narayan, when he wants to play flute, where he goes? Where he is? He's in Vrindavan. Right? Narayan does not play flute in Vaikunta. He's the same person. Understand, it's the same person. Never ever think that any one of the forms of the Lord does not have that quality. There is a difference between Avesha form and Ekatma form. Aveshas are actually for living entity. Living entity may not have all the qualities. It might exhibit one particular quality. It doesn't have the quality. The quality comes from the Lord. This Avesha means one's empowered. Shakti Avesh. Lord Shakti have been empowered. Whereas the Ekatma Rupas, right? They are all self-same personality, Krishna only. But they don't exhibit all the potencies on their own accord. It is not that they don't have, because it is not suitable for Narsim Rao to exhibit Balya Leela, for example, right? Because for the particular pastimes required only Raudra, anger, right? It is not that Narsimha does not have all the other qualities. He has, but he doesn't exhibit because it is not suitable for the Leela. Okay? Yes, Prabhuji. Correct. So this, we have to understand there is a limitation in the English language. Right? Sometimes when Prabhupada is talking, we understand something. Right? Especially when some of the purports of Srimad Bhagavatam, when we read, even the translations when we read, actually we know the words, English words. And then we try to understand the meaning through which already what we know. Right? We have to understand here, the possess means it is not that he doesn't have the quality. He's the same person. How can he not? He has the quality, but he doesn't exhibit it. That's what it means. Okay. Yeah. So I let me read that and try to understand. I'll also ask some seniors how to understand that words. Yes, Prabhuji. This chanting evaluation is only for the self. We should never analyze others chanting. Because that is between him and Krishna. We are not Krishna. Judging is duty of Krishna. Whether that person is chanting attentively or not attentively, we may not understand. That is only for our own. Nobody can tell whether I'm chanting properly or not except me, because I know my mind is wavering. I might be sitting there in a nice posture. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare. That doesn't mean that I'm chanting attentively. My mind might be gone to Seattle and come back. Right? So that is the thing. No? Chanting is the intimate expression, loving exchange between the living entity and Krishna. Only Krishna can see. That is a different thing altogether. In our conditioned state, we don't have attraction for Krishna's holy names. If you understand Krishna's holy name, that means Krishna's holy name is non-different than Krishna. When we chant Krishna's name, right, the entire pastime should manifest. It doesn't for us. In our conditioned state, it's a struggle only. For everybody, it is a struggle. There has to be regulation. That's the beauty of Sangha. When we come together morning, right, sit in front of Tulsi Maharani, all of us sit in a circle and chant. Somehow we can regulate. In our condition, we don't have that Shuddhanam. Right? We are actually in the Namabash. Right? Clearing stage. So when somebody asks for guidance, yes, we can provide. The instruction, one should correct. Only we should correct somebody provided he is your disciple. Right? Instruction should be only given to disciples. If somebody asks that, Prabhuji, how can I improve my chanting? Am I chanting properly? If I'm getting distracted, can you help me? In that situation, we can tell. Of course. This, as I said, 99.9% of the spiritual advancement comes from this one activity only. This is the most difficult activity. So we might be good in all other qualities, exhibiting all other qualities, but if this quality, right, this humility is not developed, and then if we chant in that humble mood, begging for mercy, all the other qualities eventually will not sustain, will get distracted. This is the horse. Rest, everything else is the cart. What is that horse? This begging for mercy in a humble state of mind. Until we become humble and tolerant, until we take complete shelter of the lotus, the Harinam Prabhu's shelter, we can't. We struggle only. This is the one act we can chant. We can tell that I mastered in distributing Srimad Bhagavatam. I can distribute sets and sets of Bhagavatam. I can make so many brahmacharis. I can youth preaching I mastered. This deity dressing I mastered. So many service you can say mastered. One service, nobody in ISKCON will claim that I mastered. What is that? Chanting. Right? Can anybody say that I perfected the art of chanting? Huh? No, I am saying we can, somewhat we can say. Of course, we should not claim. But at least we can say, I get some bar we can set. Right? But in this one service of chanting holy name, nobody can say that, right? Somebody perfected it. Right? So that's the thing which keeps us humble. As Prabhuji said, no service we should. Of course, all the service, we are actually the living entity can only desire. That is our only ability. We don't have any ability. Even to lift my hand, I don't have the ability. It comes from Krishna only. Right? The only ability the living entity has is what? It's Icha. It's desire. The ability to desire something. Everything else is mercy of Krishna, right? Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami mentions, right, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that intelligence attains perfection when it is used on appreciating Lord's mercy in every aspect of life. Intelligence attains perfection when we appreciate Lord's mercy. Everything is mercy of Krishna. Everything is mercy of Krishna. When we keep that mood, of course, you will never think that I mastered. But when I said mastered means some standard, right? But this chanting, we can get so many tips, attend japa workshop, and japa holy name retreat, so many things you can attend. But at the end of the day, it's we have to struggle. It's everyday struggle. Yes, Prochi. Yeah, that is all right. That's as long as it is done with the mood that I'm also struggling. I'm having asked to do this seva to wake him up, so that when I am sleeping, he will wake me up. It is a seva. It is not that I'm senior, he is junior, I'm correcting him. No. Because the same thing can happen to us. Right? Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. War. That's a elaborate thing, but because the whole thing, one thing about Balaram is people get bewildered. How Balaram exhibited so much affection for Kauravas. Right? Especially to Duryodhan. Right? Can you even believe that Duryodhan and Bhimsen have been kept at the same level? So this is the bewildering aspect of Balaram. This Guru Tattva is not easy to understand. Guru, in terms as a Guru, he is impartial in giving knowledge. He should be impartial in giving knowledge. But he is always favorable to the devotee who is surrendered. He is impartial in giving knowledge. At the same time, one who has more service attitude, of course, the affection for him will go. So Balaram Tattva, right? Because he is as a teacher, he is giving the knowledge of this Gada Yuddha. He taught both. Right? He is impartial. Because of that, right, he didn't want to participate in the war. Even Krishna himself did not participate in the war. Right? So to avoid this conflict, right? Because all the difficulty he went through in the previous Leela as Lakshmana, he didn't want to. So Balaram, that's why he takes on the pretext of, the Brahmana's instruction, right? After killing Romakarshana Suta, right? He taught humility by killing Romakarshana Suta. But the real thing is that it's very easy to speak in the Vyasasana. Are we acting in that capacity? Balaram taught humility with the blade of grass to Romakarshana Suta. The real thing is that he has to act humble. So he surrendered to the instruction of the Brahmanas. When the Brahmanas said that you killed a Brahmana, then Balaram could have very well brought Romakarshana back alive. But the sages said, no. We want to respect the Brahmanas. We also want to respect the blade of grass also. So the Prayachitta is you go on a pilgrimage. So because he was in the mood of that not want to participate in this challenging seva, he used this opportunity to go on a Tirtha Yatra. Right? Of course, later the Tirtha Yatra is over. In the end, 18th day, Balaram is appearing, and his two of his disciples are fighting. Gada Yuddha is going on. One is extremely powerful, another is very powerful in handling the weapons. In terms of skill, Duryodhana is very good in handling the Gada. But in terms of power, Bhima is superior. Hence, he is telling the instruction. It is not possible to conclude in this work, stop fighting. Balaram gives that instruction, but they don't listen. They are so mad. So, Balaram leaves. So, we can understand Balaram's appearance in Krishna Lila as an elder brother is to avoid this inconvenient, this feeling. He didn't want to participate in the war. Of course, he participated in killing demons in other places. So that's how, whatever I heard. So, is it okay? Sorry, Prabhuji, we are 1 hour extra. So, thank you so much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
हल में चेहरे ऊपर वो उसने प्रैक्टिस करी है For example, right?